Thank you, sir.
There's something here that all of us do on a pretty consistent basis. We do it almost every day, all day long. And we don't even realize that we're doing it. And that's reading someone else's body language. Reading someone else's body language. Whenever you talk, the words you say are about 7% of communication. That means the other 93% is what you say, how you say it, what you're doing with your body, your face. What's the body language? You may be thinking, I don't know about that. Let me give you an example.
I'm really excited to be here today. I'm having so much fun.
Who believed that? I said I'm really excited to be here. I said I'm having fun, but no one believed it. Why? Because you looked at my body language. And even though the words came in your ears, what you saw, you said, oh, no, they don't match. So I'm going to pick what the body did. It's very easy to lie. We get lied to all the time. It's a fact of life. You get lied to. Over the years, we've learned to trust what we see. We've learned to trust the actions as opposed to the words. Like we've all interacted with a salesman who told us things and something just didn't seem right. A lot of things happen with body language. You don't realize it. You just get a feeling. Oh, I don't believe this person. This may not be right. But there's a lot that's going on and you're interpreting it. And you don't realize you're doing it. So I'm going to give you some tips you can use to better understand body language. First thing about body language is that there's nothing that's set in stone. Nothing that's set in stone in body language because it's how you've learned to do things in certain situations. Everyone's different. Everyone's learned different things to do. So one of the first rules that I've learned about body language is you want to look for 3 congruent signs. 3 congruent signs. And what that means is if someone does something and you think that it's incongruent, like I said, I'm having a good time. Well, my arms are crossed. That's 1. I'm looking down. It's 2. My voice doesn't match. I'm having a good time. I say, I'm having a great time today. I'm so glad to be here. That matches. That's consistent. So what you want to do with body language is you never want to say, well, if someone does this one thing, it always means this. You never want to do that. Because you can meet someone who does this one thing, and the way they grew up, it means something over here. Now, how can you use this skill? How can it benefit you? Well, it can benefit you in many, many different ways. With your business, socially. When you're interacting with someone, it could be a boss, or a potential boss, or it could be a potential husband, wife, a potential friend. But if you can see what they're doing, you can have an idea of how they're feeling. That's what body language is about, is seeing what the other person's feeling. If you're talking to a potential employer, and this is a tip you can use, if their arms are crossed, most of the time this is not a good sign. The reason you cross your arms is your internal organs, if these get injured, you're in a lot of trouble. So if we feel uncomfortable, it's a subconscious thing we do, you want to create a barrier for protection. Now it's an instinctual thing we have. It doesn't really help us right now, but it's instinctual. When you feel uncomfortable, you'll tend to do this, or you'll tend to cross or put something in front of your chest. Now it doesn't always mean that. Someone's uncomfortable. It can mean someone's cold. It could mean someone spilled something on their shirt and they're covering it up. That's why you always want to look for the consistencies. You want to look for 3 congruent things. I just let you know how powerful body language is. We all remember the O.J. Simpson trial. We all remember sitting by our radios and TVs just waiting to hear that verdict. I remember I was in 7th grade in that long pause. My teacher stopped class, turned the radio up, and everyone just got quiet. Not guilty. Now, you may be wondering, how is it, if some people say he was guilty, some people say he was innocent. One of the books I read was by a woman who's a body language expert, and she was hired to pick the jury that got him off. Now, when she asked questions, what do you think she's paying attention to? The answers the juror said or their body language? So she was able to use her ability to interpret body language and see what those jurors said to have a good idea of how they're really going to vote, how they're really going to act. Now, maybe if she hadn't picked the jury, maybe he would have been guilty. Maybe he wouldn't have. No one knows. But body language is a very, very strong thing to know. Now, this is a little side fact I've read in one of the books. I can't tell you the book I read in, but it's a little unfair for guys because women actually have more parts of their brain that are designed just for reading body language. The reason for that is when women have babies, they're more of the caretakers, and the baby can't talk, so they have to be able to look at the baby and see is he hungry, is he hurt, is he sick. So women actually have more parts of their brain. That's why you see a lot of times a woman can look at a social situation and say, oh, I can clearly tell you what's going on, and a guy has no clue. My cousin and I used to play a game where we would go out and we would see people sitting down and we'd have to guess, are they brother and sister, husband and wife, friends? We'd have to guess what they are about interaction. She got it right all the time, and I'd just go up and I'd say, hey, we're playing a game, and this is what I guess, this is what she guessed. It was right, it was wrong. I was wrong most of the time. But I learned to pick up little clues, I learned to see things. Now that doesn't mean, guys, that you can't become better at body language. You can learn, it's a skill, it's a muscle, you can practice, but you have to focus on it. Otherwise, you won't get better, just like any muscle. If you don't work out, the muscle will deteriorate, and you won't use it. So that's a basic tip on body language. Someone crosses their arms. There's a lot more with body language. I don't have time to go over everything because there's so many little things. But if that interests you, then you can read some books on it. You can learn about it because it's going to help you in your social life, your business life, to know what the other person's feeling and kind of have an idea what's going on. Because a lot of times we don't tell you if we're having a bad day. It'll just come out. Or if you go to your boss, he's not having a good day, do you want to ask him for a promotion? No, you don't. You see that and say, I'm going to ask him tomorrow. And you see body language when he's open and happy, ask for the promotion then. So just think about that as we go out today, as we interact with other people. That body language is constantly being given out, and you're interpreting it. So just look for signs, pay attention to the body language. And if you're interested, you can find some books on body language. Go to Google Body Language Basics, and you can learn more about it.
Great job, Chris, as usual. I realized as I was sitting here, I was actually doing this for a second.
Oh, yeah.
I want to give it all.